ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make your next move a power play with Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. First responders, veterans, doctors, nurses, teachers, and yes, Let's Go Blues Radio listeners get special rates. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com and score big today.
Have you subscribed to the LGB Minute podcast yet? It's a 5-minute weekly St. Louis Blues podcast hosted by Jeff Ponder that is released multiple times a week to fill the gap between Let's Go Blues Radio episodes. Subscribe today.
So awesome, so handsome, so smart, you'll agree. Kurt, Jeff, and Bill are on TV. It's radio on TV. Oh yeah, it's radio on TV.
From St. Louis, I am Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by Get Your Pets Neutered and Spayed, Bill Day. Kurt Price is still facing allegations. We're bringing you the often imitated, never duplicated, get up, baby, get up, hee, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. This is the 25th episode of season 15 and the 553rd episode all time. It is Wednesday, March 25th, and we're coming to you live. Tonight, we discuss the Blues' annoyingly winning ways, the signing of a college prospect, a scary situation for Robert Thomas. With 5 episodes left, we introduce a new segment because we're crazy like that. All that and more on this extra innings episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. So, of course, I am joined here by Bill. We are both representing the city of St. Louis very well right now. I'm wearing the Cardinals blue St. Louis jersey, if I can show that on screen there. There we go. And Bill, you are wearing looks like a Biddington home jersey with the STL hat. So yes, we are both St. Louis proud tonight. And of course, I'm wearing this because tomorrow's opening day. It's a I say national. It is a St. Louis holiday. We should all be off work, but we are not. But yeah, we will be celebrating the Cardinals opening their season. So always exciting times here in St. Louis. Bill, not a baseball guy, I know, but do you watch opening day by chance?
I don't know if I will this year. I try to put the game on, like it kills me when they do the whole, like the 2-hour buildup and they have to bring out every player that's ever played for the team, write them in on, a 1985 Corvette. And, like at this point, Daniel Descalso is going to be in one of those, right?
Right.
He's classic Cardinals at this point. No, I will probably tune in for an inning or two, but I had a brief renaissance when Pujols came back for his final season, and I couldn't rekindle the love affair. So grew up playing. I could play wiffle ball in my backyard by myself for hours when I was a kid, and it's all I ever dreamed of was playing professional baseball or hockey during hockey season, of course. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but I am part of the Schoendienst clan. So Red Schoendienst is my grandmother's, or was, because they're now both passed, but my grandmother's first cousin. So my mom's side of the family, everybody is from Germantown, Illinois, which is where Red came from. So
I did not know that.
I have Cardinals blood in me. I fell out of love with the game after Pujols walked in 2013, was it? So
2011
it was after the 2011 thing. Like, how do you not bring back the guy that has delivered multiple World Series titles, right? I just that part just got to me. And now, like, why I probably won't watch this year is because I think the Cardinals are now the team that has been designated in the collusion that is Major League Baseball to suck for 5 years, right? It's they elect who's going to suck, and the Cardinals came up instead of the Pirates or the Kansas City Royals. So
yeah, they've kind of sucked the last couple of years. So 5 more years.
I think they were still pumping a little bit more money into the club, thinking, we might get a run out of these kids. And, but they keep, throwing Ali Marmol out there like he's a savant or something. I just cannot get excited about the team. Sorry,
I don't blame you
if I'm blasphemous.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, for me, well, first of all, we do know that you have Cardinal blood in you. You do bleed red, so that's obvious.
Well, yeah.
But no, so I will say last season was probably the low for me when they brought back Ali Marmol and Nolan Arenado and Wilson Contreras, and it was like, just keep trotting out the same guys, and you still had Bowtie leading things, and it's like, it's clear this dude is, I mean, at that point he literally was just a lame duck president, because he had announced that, I'm stepping aside and this other guy, Chaim Bloom, is taking over. And so for me, it was just kind of like, and I said this at the time, there's a right way and a wrong way to do a succession plan. I feel like, and I still feel this way, even though I've called for Armstrong's head in the past season, I feel like the Blues are doing the right way of, so I'm kind of just stepping aside, bringing in the next GM. I'm going to be involved. I'm going to help him. And then I'm going to still be part of the organization. When I thought that was a perfect way to do things, but for the Cardinals, it was, I have 1 year left on my contract, and we're going to utilize that. And we've got this guy who already knows how to be a president of baseball operations, and we're just going to have him sit under me for a season. Like, that was so ridiculous to me that it was just, come on, just, you're moving on from the guy. Just fire him. He hasn't done anything since 2011 with this club. And for me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I'm with you. For me, last season, that was me. I will say this year, now that they've finally brought in an actual president who's going to get things done, and did make a lot of changes over the winter, which, I mean, you could argue not for the short term, they were for the long term, but I at least can get on board with a plan. They did not have a plan the past couple seasons. The plan was, let's milk these guys for all we can get out of our fans. The fans showed last year, we're done with this. This is crap. So I do kind of hope, now that they have a plan in place, that we will start seeing fans fill the stadium a little bit more. But I totally get where you're coming from, Bill. That, and I will say, Ali Marmol, bring him out one more season. You're not getting a lot. You're not expecting a lot from this team. They're not going to do much. So I kind of get that. But at the same time, don't you want to get somebody in here who's going to grow with these young guys? So yes, that is one part that I'm kind of sitting here like, what are we doing? Why do we still have Marmol in charge?
Wasn't that the whole thing when they hired him, was he's going to be the guy to get all these youngsters up, and now all those youngsters are basically retired? He's got compromising picks of the DeWitts, I think.
Oh yeah. That's what I always said about Mozeliak. Yeah. Is I'm like, how is this guy still in charge? Like, well, and I'll say that, and I've said this on the show before, and don't worry, folks, I know we're not here for Cardinals talk, for those of you, especially not in the St. Louis area. But the thing that always drove me crazy about Mozeliak was he was such a pompous, arrogant ass. Like, oh, the fans just don't understand what we're doing here. And it's just like, dude, they're the ones paying your salary. Like, don't talk down to the fans of Cardinals baseball. I mean, listen, I'll be first one to tell you, there's plenty of dumb Cardinals fans out there, but to just flat out basically say like, oh, the fans don't understand, the fans don't get it, the fans are stupid. Like, dude, no. And the fact that he was held on for so long just goes to show again, the duets just were like, you know what? We don't care. We're making money. It doesn't matter what we do. And I think finally last season, the duets realized we got to do something because the fans are starting to lose interest again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And but that's the thing. It's there are still so many diehard fans that I don't think they're really diehard. They just don't have a whole lot else going on in life. So, what else are they going to do? They season tickets to their families since the early 50s. They're going to keep going.
yep, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I used to, when I was growing up, I had access to tickets all the time. I probably mentioned all the Blues games I got to go to. My grandpa was dock supervisor for St. Louis Shoe Company, and so the trucking companies would put tickets in his pocket for every sporting event in St. Louis all the time.
Nice.
So I never paid to go to a Blues game until I was junior in high school. Every game I ever went to was free. Same with the Cardinals. And then when I got to college, the people that I worked for had season tickets, and they would only go to about 2/3 of the game. So every homestand, they were giving away a pair. I'd go all the time, and I loved it. I was actually at the game when Mark McGuire hit the Post-Dispatch sign at center.
Oh, nice.
I was getting a beer, so I missed it. But I was there. On their tickets, and that was great. I loved it. I would go, like I would keep score. It was awesome, and just fell out of love with it. So
I get it. Okay, one last thing, since it's opening day, I got to tell my favorite opening day story that just happened a couple of years ago. Gentleman is still on the roster. I think I might have said this on the show before, and I'm sure many fans listening who are also Cardinals fans know this story, but Jordan Walker a couple of years ago, and he was a young 18, 19-year-old, made the roster on opening day, and he kind of knew about the tradition of the Clydesdales and the former players coming out. And I want to say it was, you mentioned Daniel Descalso, I want to say it was him, because I think he was helping coach at the time. I could be wrong though, but he looked at one of the players and he said, it actually might have been Brendan Donovan. But he looked at one of the players or one of the coaches and he said, so where do I know which Clydesdale am I going out with? And again, I think it was either Donovan or Descalso, whoever it was. He looked at him and he just goes, well, what do you mean? And he's like, which one am I riding? I don't know. They haven't told me yet. And he's like, you think we ride the Clydesdales out there? And he said, yeah, don't we? He's like, no, we get brought out in cars. And he's like, oh. And so I've just got this mental image in my head every year when the Clydesdales come trotting out first. I'm like, oh, one of these days we're going to have the Cardinals players riding the Clydesdales.
To me, that when I hear you tell that story, I'm thinking it in the voice of the catcher from Major League 2.
Rube Baker.
My mom died, and then it didn't hurt no more.
Man, women can't live with them. They can't pee standing up. Rube Baker was the best part of Major League 2. I will stand by that one. He was very funny. All right, let's get to our beers of the episode, official beers of episode number 553. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. You can find me at JPonder94. Bill, what are you sipping on tonight?
I'm doing the Fat Elvis tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, still had 2 of the 4-pack you bought me back a couple months ago, and I was in I think it was in the barrel blends in Valley Park, and they had a whole stock of them in the the cooler. So still
Nice.
available in some places.
Very cool. So, well, for me, I'm drinking a new one that I've never had on the show before. I had this on Saturday. I went to the St. Louis Beer Fest, which is
I saw
an
pictures.
event. Yeah, an event that they do now at the Science Center every year. I think I've mentioned on the show before. My wife and I go every year, and really, I always forget to tell you about it because you and Julie should come too. It's a great time. But before that, we went to Rockwell Beer Company for dinner and tried their newest beer. It just came out a couple weeks ago. It's called the Infinity Mirror Rice Saison Ale with tea. So that's the that is the can art there. Beautiful stuff. And it is very good. I'll tell you, I'm not a tea drinker, but the taste in this thing is fantastic. So I don't even know what to say. I guess it tastes like Saison. That's the only way I can really describe it. It's kind of a sweet flavor, but it kind of hits you with this, like, I don't even know what to call it. Let me see if I can describe it. Let me take one more drink. I can't describe it. It's just got this very special flavor to it, and it feels very classy, and it's very good. So yeah, I definitely recommend from Rockwell Beer Company. They're in St. Louis. Their brewery is right there off of
it's on Vanaventer.
Vanaventer. Yeah, Vanaventer.
Vanaventer, right by Tower Grove.
Yep. And they do flights as well, which is great. So nice way to sample some of their beer. But yeah, this is a new one. If you haven't been there in a while, Infinity Mirror. Very good.
Yeah. I think they have that. They had a bunch of Rockwell stocked at Barrel Blends there too. So
yeah,
I will be popping in there probably Saturday.
Yeah, if they have this, definitely try it. And you'll probably be like, ooh, he's right. This does taste classy. A couple comments we'll get to real quick. Ace in the chat says Ali Marmol with his puking emoji. He says, I quit watching when they extended Ollie last time. Trees says that Clydesdale story feels like the Simpsons joke of Homer thinking the ballet is a bear driving a little car. I could quote Simpsons all day. And then Joe Schmo says, anyone hip to Anchor Steam? Awesome beer out of the Bay Area. Have you heard of that one, Bill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's they were like one of the very first craft beers in America. Thought they might have been going through some financial trouble, but yeah, I am familiar with them. No, it's probably been 30 years since I've had one. Okay, well,
I might have to give them a shot. I'm sure they probably have them at Total Wine or something. I'll have to find it and give it a try. Matt MLO12 says, what up, fellas? Never been so unhyped for opening day in my life. How about them kids on the Blues? Yes, we will get to that. The kids are all right. They're doing pretty well. And then Matt MLO12 does say he is looking forward to JJ, which he's talking about JJ Weatherholt, who is I think he's the number one prospect for the Cardinals right now, and he is on the opening day roster.
Second
interesting,
baseman, I think.
I think his natural position is shortstop. So it'll be interesting to see because, obviously Cardinals top player right now is probably Mason Wynn, and he's a shortstop. So we'll see if they maybe try to platoon them together or if they move one of them to second and give them a shot there. I know Nolan Gorman is your third baseman as of right now. So we'll see. Maybe they step in there. Who knows? We'll see. But either way, exciting to see the future of JJ Weatherholt. I agree with you. All right, Bill. Well, we got some interesting news to open up here. The Blues, kind of out of nowhere, at least for me, I don't know if you had heard any rumblings of this. They signed free agent collegiate forward Felix Trudeau to a 2-year entry-level contract. It begins next season, so that's 26-27. For the remainder of this season, he will be playing in a tryout basis with the Blues' AHL affiliate, the Springfield Thunderbirds. They played tonight. I should have pulled up the stats. I will do that at commercial, see how he did. If he played, then he may not have suited up tonight. We'll see.
If they announced it, I would kind of suspect he didn't, but we'll check it out.
Yep. Trudeau is 23, just in 39 games during his second season at Sacred Heart University in the AHA NCAA this year. He is 6'2", 200 pounds, shared sixth nationally with 48 points. His 25 goals ranked second, and his 12 power play goals led the country. For his efforts, the Terrebonne, Quebec native was named the AHA's Player of the Year and earned a spot on the conference's first All-Star team. He was also recently announced as a top 10 finalist for the Hobey Baker Award, which is awarded to the top NCAA men's hockey, awarded to the NCAA's men's hockey player of the year. Last season, he tallied 38 points, 15 goals, and 23 assists. In his first year at Sacred Heart, he earned second all-conference team honors. He spent his first 2 collegiate years at the University of Maine, where he collected 13 points, 6 goals, and 7 assists in 52 games, so not impressive at all. Then he goes over to Sacred Heart and turns it on. Prior to his standout collegiate career, Trudeau was a top performer for the BCHL's West Kelowna Warriors. He had 61 points in his one and only season in the league. So for people who are kind of looking at this and saying, who is this kid? Who drafted him? Why was he untouched? He was undrafted. And again, if you look at that collegiate numbers there that he had over at Maine in his first 2 years, 13 points in 52 games, nothing to be excited about. You can see why he wasn't. But sometimes, as we see in all sports, kids are late bloomers. And looks like this kid might be a very late bloomer. Felix Trudeau, again, is his name. I'm excited about this. I love this kind of stuff, Bill. I don't know how you feel, but like for me, it's so low risk, high reward. You know, if this kid doesn't pan out, you got a 2-year entry level deal. He plays in Springfield. Things don't work out. See you later. Nice try. But there is potential this kid comes into the NHL and at the very least is a solid bottom 6 forward for you. So I just love this kind of deal. And I think it's a smart move. And I do know that a lot of other teams were interested in this kid. This wasn't just Doug Armstrong taking a flyer on a kid. He was in talks with multiple teams, and Armstrong was luckily the one that landed him.
Or Steen.
Yeah, not sure which one it was. Armstrong made the announcement. Could have been Steen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you got to be working towards Steen's goals. So I would like to think he was totally in on this play. But I mean, to me, yeah, there's absolutely zero downside to make a move like this, right? A guy that never got drafted, a guy who's really showing that, you know, he might be a diamond in the rough. Take a flyer on him. That is not a bad deal, you know, especially with the Blues looking to, you know, kind of thin the ranks of their, you know, we'll probably not this next year. We're probably going to need bodies down there because, you know, I don't, and if we draft all 3 of our first rounders, chances are 2 of them are staying in juniors or college this year. So we're going to need some bodies because, you know, the likes of Stenberg's going to be here. Theo Lindstein's going to be here, right? And chance for Kaskamaki. There are probably 5 more syllables in that I didn't pronounce, but Alexandre Kaskam. You know, I got the last name right. It's the first name that gets me. But
you got the first one right too. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm getting there. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a guy that gets nominated for the Hobey Baker and you can sign him for nothing, do it every time. Yeah. And I think, you know, we talked a little bit about this before, but NCAA now is going to be a much better diamond in the rough place for teams to go and find. You know, you'll get guys who can go into the transfer portal. You know, he said he was at Maine. Played there, was nothing special. You know, Sacred Heart takes him and he goes in and he has a Hobey Baker nomination type year. I think you're going to see a lot more of that, right? Guys get into the right program. Guys have a lot better, showing in front of scouts and after their draft years, it's going to be awesome.
Yep. I'm looking right now to see if he played tonight.
I do not believe he did. The big debut in the Springfield Thunderbirds game tonight was James Higgins for the Providence Bruins. So he recently left Boston University. Was it Boston U or Boston College? Anyway, he signed his entry level and is playing for the Providence Bruins for the remainder of the season. And he played tonight. So
Callie Rosen wearing an A for Springfield. Good for him. I did not realize that.
I figured he'd be the coach by the end of the year. But,
well, look out, Steve Ott. He's on your coattails. But no, I like I said, I love this. I feel like it's low cost, and we got a couple of people chime in. Joe Schmo says, "Too bad 6 foot 200 is cruiserweight. He's actually 6'2". So he is a little bigger and 200 pounds. And I mean, he's a young man. He's 23. He can still put on some weight, put on some muscle. So maybe he shoots up to 205, 210. And then Ace adds, when you get there, in order to bring other young guys up to play next year, you have to cut ties with players. Who that going to be? I mean, there's a couple names we could go off of, but, that's Matt Emil. Yeah. Matt MLO says Berggren needs to stay. I think we can agree on that. He has looked very good on this team.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo says
when he gets sat, like, just play him every fucking night.
Yeah, I don't get that. I really don't. And it was like I know they won last night. They played very well, but there was multiple lineup changes from the night before or from the game before, and I'm like, they played really well in that game against Vancouver. So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I'm getting very annoyed with the line shuffling and lineup changes randomly. I know at this point maybe you're just trying to see what you got, but I mean, let these kids play, see what they can do. Ace adds, could this team move from physical fourth line to actual talented scorers on the fourth line? I doubt it, but could they? They could. It depends. I mean, again, if this Trudeau kid hits, that's easily a rookie that could be on your fourth line next year. Jakob Stansel's another guy that I think the Blues are interested in seeing what he can do in training camp next year. That's a guy that could be on your bottom six. There's other names. You mentioned Kaskamaki as a guy that is only going to get better over time, you hope. But yeah, I mean, the future of this team is bright. Jimmy Snuggerud continues to light it up and be a difference maker. He is what you expected Jordan Kyrou to be, and you just need to fill around him. And guys like Robert Thomas obviously will still be in the lineup, and this could be a completely different scenario next year at this point. We could be talking March 25th, 2027. Holy cow, the Blues are in a top 3 spot in the Central, or they're battling for another draft pick, high draft pick. So who knows what'll happen, but either way, this kind of move, I'm all for it. Keep making them if you can.
Yeah. I can't wait to get to talking about last night's game. So
yep, we will get there. Well, let's go ahead and take our quick break. When we get back, we actually have a new segment we will be debuting here. Again, just kind of, we'll get to it. And we've got playoff odds, Blues against Capitals, all that when we get back from break. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Jeff and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What are you doing? Have you not subscribed to the Let's Go Blues Minute yet? Do it wherever you get podcasts. It provides a daily look into the St. Louis Blues, filling the gap between Let's Go Blues radio shows. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Friendster. I don't care. Just subscribe and get fresh blues content daily. Do it. Like now.
Every hockey team needs that clutch player who knows when to pass, when to shoot, and when to take charge. In real estate, that superstar is Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. Whether you're buying your first home or selling your current one, Mike skates circles around the competition with his knowledge, hustle, and down-to-earth approach. And here's the real zone ability. If you're a first responder, veteran, doctor, nurse, teacher, or even just a loyal Let's Go Blues radio listener, you'll score special rates when you work with Mike. Got questions? Fire them at him. He'll answer quicker than Bill Day's glove hand. Obstacles in your way? He'll plow through them harder than I would in a goalmouth scramble. And when it comes time to close, he'll put it in the back of the net faster than a Kurt Price shot from the slot. So don't just settle for an ordinary realtor. Get the MVP on your side. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today. Mike Burgoyne, the real estate teammate you can always count on. Let's get into our random topic. It's a topic generator. Well, we are not going to tease the generator. We're actually going to do it. Streaming fatigue, volcanoes, pyramid schemes, moving back in with your parents.
I have no idea.
But he spent like up to $5,000 for my bow tie.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, I could use that money.
So you need to realize that only the largest departments in the country have their own SWAT teams, okay?
And it popped, and it hurt, man. I went down, and I didn't want to blow the tape.
There's some things I've decided I will not do anymore, okay? Riding a bike uphill, don't want to do that.
Ooh, yeah.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Was that last commercial choppy for you?
No.
Oh, okay. It was for me. Okay. Good to hear. New commercial there, folks. We're kicking off on Wednesday.
Great to see John Pertzborn.
That's right. John Pertzborn will be in the first episode. Excited to get that one out. He had some really, really funny stories. Dick Ford, for those of you in the St. Louis area who remember that, man, that did news, for 40 years for Fox 2.
Yeah, and he was on KSDK in the 80s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and he had some good stories about him. So, tune in, especially St. Louisans. Wednesday, April 1st will be the first episode drops. Wherever you get podcasts, you can actually go on now and subscribe wherever you get podcasts to the Pondcast, Conversations That Go Nowhere. Just search that, and it should come up. We've got a little teaser up there right now. So that way, when the first episode drops, you will be able to go ahead and get that downloaded. So do that now, like right now.
I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, it's Perchborn used to MC trivia night that I would always go to. I believe he lives on the same street as my aunt in South City. So in the St. Margaret of Scotland parish.
I can attest to that he does still live in South City. So there you go. Very cool. All right, well, go look for him, folks. He's in South City. Go look for John Pertzborn. But no, he was awesome. He was a lot of fun to talk to. And my goal with this show is to not let it turn into Let's Go Blues Radio and go 2.5 hours. Easily could have gone 2 hours with him. And I literally have a timer set where when it hits 45 minutes, it's time to stop. And I was very sad when that timer went off. I'm like, oh, come on. There's so much more I can get out of Pertzborn. So, yep, fun stuff.
He was such a great personality when he was on the air.
Yep, still is, 100%. Just retired last October. And Joe Schmo says, I thought that was Pertzborn. What's a Dick Ford? Dick Ford was, man, he was here. He was here forever. Grew up. Him, Larry Connors, Julius Hunter, like all those guys, that I grew up watching, on TV. Zipper Zeppa, who we've had on this show. Trish Brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Trish Brown used to come into the subway that I worked at, and I could tell you to this day what her order was because it was so bizarre. So 6-inch veggie sub doused in vinegar. Like what? Don't know, but yeah, she was a lovely human being. Um, I mean, very attractive human being
Oh
as
yeah.
well, but she was super nice. Always chatted but always got the exact same thing. And she barely could see over the counter. She was tiny, tiny lady.
Yeah, I think I heard that when they did like the breaking like tornado alerts, the way that they had the screen set up for those, I'm pretty sure she had to like they had to like bring out like a small stage for her.
Yeah.
So because she was too small to be shown on screen with the screen.
She was definitely one of the best to ever
Oh yeah.
do the weather in St. Louis, and yeah, absolutely loved her.
Ace says Zip made sports fun on news. Yes, he did. And I can't remember what season that was. Might have been season 10. Over the summer, I had him on. So try to find that episode if you haven't listened to it, Ace. Yeah, he was awesome. We had a lot of fun talking about the old Zippo Awards and him interviewing players, and we had a lot. I think he had a lot of Whitey Herzog stories, which those are always fun. So check that out if you haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
Yep, I agree. And I was on it. And usually that makes episodes terrible. And Zip made it great. So we're going to do we're calling it the Let's Go Blues Extra. And the reason for this is after this show, we have 5 episodes remaining. And I thought it would be a little fun to just kind of help close out our shows if we just kind of, went like overall opinion from Bill and I on some blues topics. And so in this Let's Go Blues Extra, this first one, we're going to do the Blues all-time Mount Rushmore. If you're unfamiliar with that phrase, I would think most people here know what Mount Rushmore is, but a big thing that people talk about in sports radio mostly is your Mount Rushmore of Cardinals players, your Mount Rushmore of MLB players, whatever. So Mount Rushmore is 4, and it does not have to be ranked. It's just 4 names that you think belong. If the Blues were to build a Mount Rushmore, what 4 faces would be on there? So let's start. And I think we'll just go one by one. Bill, what is the first name on your Blues Mount Rushmore?
So are we just giving names or are we giving rationale? I forgot.
Yeah, give me name and fairly quick rationale. We don't want this to drag into the midnight hours.
Okay, so in the place of George Washington, who was there to represent the birth of the nation, I'm going to have Bob Plager.
Okay, well, and so that's your. You know what? I'll just say that I'm with you. Bob Plager also makes mine. Again, this does not need to be ranked. Yeah, for me, I'm with you. Same reason, basically, that he was here from the start. We just I hate to say celebrated, but honored him for 5 years after he passed the other night. And it's just, everything about Blues hockey started and ended with Bob Plager for the longest time. And I hate remembering his last day, but I will never forget because I was in, let's see, that would have been Universal. I couldn't remember the park, but I can remember the ride. I literally had just gotten off the Mummy ride in Universal Studios, and it was an awesome ride. And I was jacked. I was like, oh my God, that was so much fun. And I literally look at my phone when I get off the ride, and I probably had 15 texts and, a bunch of messages on Twitter and Facebook. And I'm like, what is going on? And yes, it was that Bobby Plager had passed away, and my heart sunk. I hate to say it, but it ruined the rest of my trip. And again, I don't mean to make this a negative thing, but that's just how much he meant to the Blues organization. So I am so happy, and they said it a million times last night in the broadcast, so happy he finally got his Stanley Cup. That was such a shining moment for him, and it did not matter. He was not one of the players on the ice. Everyone wanted to win it for him, and seeing that happen in his lifetime was tremendous.
Yeah, it was everything to the Blues organization, and I thought they did a great job. Yesterday was the anniversary of his tragic death, and they did a great job. I usually skip over a lot of the, fluff stuff that they try to put in to the games to keep your attention. But last night, I did not skip through any of that. So.
No, nope. All right, who's your second player on your? Or it doesn't have to be player. Anyone involved with the St. Louis Blues? Who is on your Blues Mount Rushmore number 2?
Blues Mount Rushmore number 2 in lieu of Thomas Jefferson, who was on Mount Rushmore to embody the expansion of the United States. Thomas Jefferson through the Louisiana Purchase is Brett Hull. So Brett Hull brought hockey to the masses in St. Louis, right? He's got to be on there no matter how you come about this list, but he is the guy that transcended, not everybody in St. Louis knew who Bernie Federico was when Bernie Federico was the star player for the Blues. But once Brett Hull came on the scene, everybody in St. Louis knew who Brett Hull was. He's probably single-handedly responsible for 3 or 4 new ice rinks built in the late 80s, early 90s because he boomed the popularity of the sport.
Yeah, I can't argue. He's also on mine. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and mention him now, too. Yep, Brett Hull. And for me, I'll say growing up, obviously loved Brett Hull. I mean, we all did. But, he was never really my favorite player on the Blues, but he was always the constant that was like, that guy's going to score tonight, and it was just funny because I remember as a kid when he left, I would have been, let's see, that was 98 when he left, or was it 97? It was 98. I would have been 13. And it was just funny because, I remember the Blues getting shut out one game that season and just, it kind of hit me. And, not that Brett Hull was the only player in charge of scoring goals on this team through the 90s, but I remember it just kind of hit me like, where was Brett Hull to score that big goal that we needed, and it was just kind of a culture shock of like, man, like not having him on this team is crazy. So yeah, again, another player when the Blues won the cup, seeing him celebrate as well, because, he was the one that really put hockey on the map in St. Louis. Just a big moment. So yeah, I'm with you. Brett Hull, number 2. I was going to switch to me going first, but I love your lead in. So I'm going to let you go again with your first pick, your third pick.
All right. So I'm betting this is where we diverge. So my third pick in lieu of Teddy Roosevelt, who was there, and he was put on Mount Rushmore to embody the development of the nation as a modern power, right? Under him, the America took a turn and had a lot of advancement, right? That's what he embodied at the time that Mount Rushmore was envisioned and became a thing. So for me, that is Alex Pietrangelo.
Ooh.
He brought the Blues. He was the captain of the Blues that finally brought them the Stanley Cup, right? And without his leadership, we haven't been the same team. There are parallels there with his role and with what Teddy Roosevelt meant to the design of Mount Rushmore. So, and it's a little controversial, I'm sure, because there are a lot of other names that you're going to think of first, but to me, he belongs there. He deserves a statue.
So I will say that there are 2 names that I put down as my, basically, if we were to expand Mount Rushmore to 6, Pietrangelo would be on there. I did not get him in my final 4. But yeah, he was close because I have the same exact reasoning as you. First St. Louis Blue to lift the Stanley Cup. His season in 2019 was one for the ages. I mean, we complained about him through the years, the not being able to keep the puck in, not being able to play positionally as well as he could throughout his career. But that 2019 and then also the following season, that was prime Alex Pietrangelo. And that without him, the Blues do not win the Stanley Cup. And it's hard for me to leave him off, but I am going to. My third player, and I'll stick in the same realm with you as Roosevelt. And my reasoning is, well, first of all, Chris Pronger. So similar in sense of I feel like he brought power and change to the organization. But for me, it was more, this team was such garbage defensively in the 90s. They were so bad. And say what you will about Mike Keenan, horrible, horrible general manager, not a great coach really either. He brought in Chris Pronger to really help, and obviously Al McInnes before that, but Chris Pronger was the one that really got brought in and made them the defensive stalwarts they were. It didn't matter who you put out there with Chris Pronger. They literally ran the year they won the President's Trophy. They ran Todd Reardon out there with Chris Pronger just because he was a big guy. That is literally the only reason. And it was like, well, Pronger will cover at least half the ice. We hope this other big guy can do the same. And Reardon was a guy who is not known as being a strong NHL player, but Pronger made him look phenomenal. And he did that throughout his career. So ushering in this whole defensive mindset for me and this tough guy, Blues, blue-collar attitude that we saw from a lot of the forwards in the early 90s, we were now seeing it from the defense. And I think a lot of that stemmed from Chris Pronger. So he is my number 3 pick. How do you feel about Pronger? And go ahead and name your 4th as well.
It's hard to leave him off. Given what he meant to the team in his time. I just, as I'm thinking about, for me, there were 2 reasons why I didn't go with him and why I didn't go with McInnes. And that was their greatest success didn't come in St. Louis. They were amazing, great players, had some of the best career years in St. Louis, but they won their Stanley Cups elsewhere. They're not 100% synonymous with St. Louis. Petro, he left. We've spilt a lot of words about Petro leaving St. Louis here on this show. But to me, he was the homegrown guy that got us the cup. So I think he deserves it in place of those 2. So my final pick, which represents the preservation of the team, is going to be Bernie Federko. Yep. So he is, he didn't play all of his games here either, but he was the Blues in the 80s, right? Until Brett Hull got here, he was the guy that carried the torch. He was the best player for this team, the all-star, the captain, and my first favorite non-goalie player. So he's still part of this organization, and will be until not that Chris Pronger and Al McInnes and Brett Hull aren't, but he's the guy that's been there, despite getting screwed over by Jack Quinn in 1988. He came back. He loves this city. He deserved better in his career, but he was the face of the franchise in the 80s. So for me, it's an emotional pick. I'm going with him.
Yeah, I'm with you. Federko is also my pick and my 4th and final. And I'll mention a couple other names we did not say that are deserving, but yeah, Bernie for sure. You can't go against him. Kind of some similar reasons to Plager. Obviously was not here at the start, but once he got here, he was a true Blue. He's still, like you said, still with the organization. The fact that, he's been doing TV now for 25 years. I mean, that's a name that, kids nowadays, that you may say the name Brian Sutter to a newer fan, and they're not going to know who that is. Nothing against him, but they're going to still know who Bernie Federko is because he's still with the organization, still doing things with the franchise. And, he was another guy like Bobby that when the Blues won the cup was down on the ice, got plenty of pictures of him lifting the cup for the first time. So yeah, I'm with you, preservation. I'm with you. Federko, 100%, still carries the Blues torch. Still the guy that people talk about when they talk about the St. Louis Blues. And I'll say just played an unfortunate time in hockey too, because, he was kind of the forgotten center in the NHL. You had Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Ron Francis, even guys like Bernie Nichols, who had ridiculous careers. And then you had Bernie Federko playing in this little Midwest city that no one really paid attention to. And
right. I mean, Denny Savard outshone him in Chicago.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, it really wasn't a fair thing, and it was never got the limelight, and of course, like I said, screwed over by Jack Quinn on his exit out of St. Louis, and should never have happened. But hey,
came right back.
Right, came right back, and we got Adam Oates. So,
yep,
that's pretty good thing in the end.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, hard to argue. So again, mine were Pronger, Plager, Federko, Hull. Yours were Plager, Federko, Hull, and Pietrangelo. The other name I mentioned that there was two names that were on my, if we were to expand to 6 on Mount Rushmore. Probably an unpopular pick, especially at this point, but Jordan Binnington was a name I considered just because he does have all the goalie records. Well, for the most part, he doesn't have shutouts yet, but there's still a possibility he gets there. Maybe Hofer takes that. But in terms of winning the first Stanley Cup, being the face of the franchise, I think throughout that cup run, and then really still playing good hockey. I mean, we've seen him have his bad stretches, but overall, I think it is ridiculous to argue greatest franchise goalie of all time, most wins, and has been lights out every playoff year that he's played in. So, for me, that was the other name that I was like, I want to get a goalie in there. And if I'm going to pick one, it would be Binnington. But I think the fact that he's still playing to me kind of hurts. Like, I want to see how his career finishes. Even if he's a backup and the Blues win another Stanley Cup, I think he definitely makes that list. But, I think right now it's probably a little premature to put him in there, but definitely a name I considered. What was another name you might have considered if not for Binnington?
Binnington was definitely it, right? And it killed a little bit of my soul for me not to include a goalie. The two goalies that I would have included were Jordan Binnington or his agent and my original idol, Mike Liut. The Liut, again, talking about playing at an unfortunate time, there was no defense in the 80s, right? And he was the Lester B. Pearson Award winner in the year that Gretzky won his first MVP, right? So the players thought he did a lot better job for his team than Wayne Gretzky did. That's an accomplishment. He was an all-star that year. Like the Blues had, in 81, I think they got knocked out by the Rangers back, when they had the really weird playoff seeding. The Blues really came from out of nowhere. Babbage 50-goal season, but it was Liut, right? When you hear the Bernie Federko stories, you hear the Wayne Babbage stories. Like it was Ludi. Killed me not to put him on there, but if we wind up doing other Mount Rushmores, he's definitely on the goalie Mount Rushmore for St. Louis. So.
I'll say
love that. Like I want to AI generate an image of them, the Blues Mount Rushmore of goalies with their masks. His
Cujo's got to be up there with that one.
Oh yeah,
yep,
for sure.
Yeah, no, I'll say for me too. And I'm not even a goalie, and I'm like, man, it's really just difficult to not, because for me it was like I want to make sure I have at least one defenseman. Ended up going 2 defensemen, 2 forwards. But I thought, man, it's so weird to not have a goalie in your team's Mount Rushmore. But I do think that speaks to the Blues not being able to really figure out their goaltending in their entire history. You know, we talk about it all the time on this show that, you know, you look at other teams that came in 67, their wins leader in goal has 300-400 wins, you know, and it's like, our goalie was at 151 for Liut, and Binnington passed him this year. And it's like, you know, that just goes to show the Blues have never really, and they've had great goaltending, but they get rid of them too early.
Right.
Yeah, they get rid of them too early, or they get them too late in their careers. You know, Grant Fuhr being another one that was great when he was here, but it was like, you can't put him in the Mount Rushmore. He wasn't here long enough. So, so I'll tell you a lot of names that we considered, and I threw them in this list here, Bill, but we'll go over them very quickly. Brendan Shanahan, Alexander Steen, Craig Berube, I think deserves discussion. Al McInnes, Pavel Demitra, Pierre Turgeon, Vladimir Chebaturkin, I think deserves a look.
Only on this show.
I tried so hard to say that without laughing, and I couldn't do it. Vladimir Tarasenko, Barclay Plager, you mentioned Mike Liut, Glenn Hall, Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen, Curtis Joseph, Colton Parayko, Brian Sutter, Gary Younger, David Perron, Al Arbor, Robert Thomas, who maybe one day, just not there yet, Keith Tkachuk, David Backus, you know, names that some of those, you know, you're like, yeah, you don't compare with the names we listed, but a name like Ryan O'Reilly, he was not here long, but he was a Conn Smythe winner for this team, you know, won a Stanley Cup here. So, you know, how do you at least not consider him being in like your top 10 Blues players of all time? So, yeah, it's a hard list to do. I think every team would struggle to come up with a list like this, but I think we got it right. I think we both got it right. You know, I think Pietrangelo in place of Pronger, I totally get that. Because like I said, for me, I was like, I want to get one of the Stanley Cup winners on this team, or on this Mount Rushmore, but I couldn't justify bumping anyone from my list.
Yeah, and I also thought about putting Steen in there too. Because he was the kind of the soul of that 2019 team, right? The old school guy who would play whatever role was needed to be done. I didn't want to put him in there because he's stepping into this new role that we could be hating him in a year. Right?
I hope not.
I hope not either. But
if he brings a couple cups to St. Louis as GM, I think he's in our list.
Oh, 100%. He replaces Pietrangelo in that list.
Yep. So a couple comments we got here from people. Ace says, Plager, yep, I loved watching him play hip check kid. Can't argue with Plager, says Joe Schmo. He says, I used to sit and talk hockey with Bob at a bar. He would come in every day, and we would never let me buy my own beer. Trying to think of the name of bar, Outer 40, Highway 40. I don't know. Probably, are you talking about the one in Oakland, off Oakland? I can't remember the name of that bar either. Let's see. Divide by zero. I'm going to give a hot take on the Mount Rushmore thing. My choice is Ron Caron. That man took a struggling franchise and made people in a baseball town take notice. Also gave us some great quotes. Let's not forget about that either.
Yeah. Always being on the burner.
Yep. Then we've got Joe Schmo says, talking to you, Bill, we diverge at Pietrangelo. Very good player, but no. Divide by zero. If we stay with players, I am not sure how you could skip Bernie Federko. Well, we didn't. So many candidates after Plager and Holy. Some weren't here long enough. Some were here in tough times. I guess I have to go with Brian Sutter. That was another name I definitely considered.
Yeah, and it's like you can go. For me, it was like really one player from the 80s. Not that Hull got here at the end of the 80s, but Brian Sutter and Bernie Federko, like those were the two guys that when I played street hockey, or floor hockey or whatever in my house, those were the two guys I wanted to be.
Yep.
Just Brian Sutter, the captain. And it shocks me to this day, like how he has, that he could go coach in Chicago after the heated rivalry that we had in the 80s with them. But just that, he is so dedicated to his family life in Porcupine Plain, or is that Bernie? But back in Saskatchewan, right, on the farm, that he doesn't come back, right? That's to me, that's a big reason why I wouldn't have included him.
Yep. And then Joe Schmo says, can't forget it, Gary Unger, the original Iron Man. Yeah, that was a name I considered as well. Can't argue against Bernie. First time I saw Gary Unger skating, I noticed his hair never moved. Good hairspray. Yeah. Mine moves, which is nice, although I wear a helmet. And then Ace says he don't deserve Mount Rushmore, but I love Brendan Shanahan. Joe Schmo, hard to separate personal favorites from Mount Rushmore candidates. Yep. Luckily, my favorite player of all time is Chris Pronger. So I was like, yeah, that's a shoe-in for me for both reasons. Brian Sutter never seems to come back to town. Yep. And Ace says, and on the ass hat wall, number 1, Mike Keenan, absolute douche. Yes, I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Don't forget Bill Laurie. He belongs on there too.
Yeah, that would be another good one that we could do, is who is the Mount Rushmore of Blues villains.
Yes. Maybe that's next week. So I'll go ahead and tell you, folks, those of you listening, the Let's Go Blues Extra, we'll do one of these every week. So if you have a good one for us to do, we've talked about a couple different ones. Bill just mentioned a good one. It doesn't have to be Mount Rushmore, anything that you kind of want to know our opinion on in terms of Blues history, the future of the Blues, whatever. We can do that in the next 5 episodes. So if you have any ideas, please shoot them our way. We're on LGB Radio on all social media. And you can also email us at Let's Go Blues. Is it Let's Go Blues radio at letsgoblues.com?
The one you can never get.
I never get the email right. I don't know why. All right. So let's get into talking about what has been the past week for the St. Louis Blues. So every week now we've been mentioning their playoff odds just because. Last week they were at a 1%. And this week, they have jumped up to 4.1%. So they are gaining ground, but with, I think it's 12 games left. I don't think they make the jump. They've still got to jump a lot of teams at this point, but it's fun to talk about. You never know. I mean, crazy things have happened. Maybe this team makes it. I doubt it. But yeah, interesting to see they've gone up over 3 percentage points in the last week.
Yeah, I mean, we've been stuck there right at 1% forever. But how about the Nashville Predators, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to happen if the Blues beat the Sharks tomorrow? Like that's going to be probably a double-digit jump, because the Sharks are kind of hitting free fall mode now.
Oh yeah, they have hit a tailspin. Woo. Oh man, divide by 0. That's a good point. Lou Lamoriello for villain. I hate that man for taking Stevens from us. Yeah, don't forget about the Judge.
Houston.
Yep, Judge Houston. He's up there too. Yep, 100%. But yeah, Nashville. Yeah, they've been interesting to watch. I don't know, man. It's hard to root against Ryan O'Reilly, but it is Nashville. So yeah, we'll see. Right now, they're holding down that second wild card spot. So we'll see if they can keep that going for the rest of the season. But it's a tight race. I mean, right now, Utah at 80 points as the first wild card spot, Nashville at 77, then the Kings at 74, the Kraken at 72, and the Jets at 72, and the Sharks at 70, and obviously Blues at 69. Very difficult to make up that ground, but yeah, it's crazy to see how tight this race is for the wild card, and both conferences as well. Blues fans should be watching what Detroit's doing. They have dropped out of the playoff race as of now,
below 50%.
I love it, because that means that Justin Falk trade, the Blues would get a higher pick, so and another chance at the draft lottery if they fall enough. So right now they're at 84 points. Boston Bruins have the first wild card spot at 88. The Ottawa Senators have the second at 85. The Islanders are tied with them at 85. And then the Red Wings at 84. I think that's where it ends there for the Eastern Conference. But yeah, I mean, there's look at Montreal. They're hanging on at 88 points for the third spot there in the Atlantic. And then in the Metro, the Penguins have a 1-point lead over the Senators. So a lot could change in the next 10, 11 games for these teams. And for Blues fans, again, I think we all have to hope that Detroit continues to plummet a little bit.
Yeah. Montreal, huge win over the Hurricanes last night. So I am lamenting, so just real quick, not that many people care, but my fantasy hockey league is in the playoffs, and it's a 2-week first round, and I was one of the top teams going into the playoffs, and I went into the weekend down 30 points.
Whew.
And I have made a couple of really bad roster decisions. Yesterday, I had a chance to pick Joel Hofer. My choices were Jet Greaves or Joel Hofer, and I just had a bad feeling about Hofer against the Capitals. And that's the last time I'm going to trust a feeling, because that would have got me level by the end of last night. I also didn't play a couple of players that I normally would have in lieu of players I had recently picked up that did nothing for me. So I'm over managing, trying to get back into this thing. And tonight I kind of screwed myself by not realizing what time it was and not acting on my instinct. I had Igor Shesterkin and he got shellacked. And so, but I also picked up Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who wound up losing in overtime to the Bruins tonight. So just like I wound up, it was basically, if you know anything about investing, I put myself in a straddle, option straddle, and it went against me. And so I'm closer to parity, but I am still on the wrong side of the ledger this week with 4 games left.
Oh, Bill. Yeah, I know the feeling of overmanaging. I call it Mike Mathenying. Yeah, it's to stick with the baseball theme from earlier. Yeah, I've definitely done that too, where I'm just like, well, let's see. Yaroslav Halak against the Nashville Predators. He lost 5-2 last time he played them. Not gonna play well, and gets a shutout, like 35 saves. That is a real story, by the way. That was not just an example. Yeah, that was something I did, and I was like, oh, and I ended up losing the playoff series because of it. So, been there, man. It's the over managing always kills you.
Yeah. Just it, and had I just taken Shesterkin out when I thought about that this morning, before I jumped in the car to go to work, I would be in the lead at this point. But he is lost me about 6 points tonight.
Ooh, good Lord. Well, let's talk about some positive stuff. How about that? Let's go ahead and jump into talking about last night's game. I know we both have a lot to say about it. So, but where we are going to start, we're going to start with Bill's save of the week.
Gotta give me more advanced time.
Okay. Do you want me to vamp for you?
No, let me reset and make sure I've got my we're gonna try something different here today, folks. So yeah, so here we go. Bear with me, I may have to repeat the video. So as we enter, it's a wide arena shot, scoreboard glow, breath of the crowd, slow push in toward the blue line. It started with one tiny mistake. Logan Mailloux fumbling the puck, misses it, does a little spinorama, puck comes loose to Ryan Leonard, goes in with, it was actually a great faceoff win by Jack Finley. But look at that pass by Ryan Leonard to Tom Wilson, and puck, rubber meets metal. Tom Wilson with a snipe right off the mask, right off Joel Hofer's face. Goalies do anything to make a save. We haven't had any mask saves in this series, so that's what we're doing here tonight, right? Bone deep thud, collective gasp, a bullseye, a blink. The mask comes off. The mask gives. It pops free. It skitters across the ice. Joel folds over the puck. Oh, wait, I got to start this over. Sorry. Teammates swerve to protect. Actually, I want to give Tom Wilson props for not slashing him in the face, which is what I thought he was going to do because it's Tom Wilson, right? He has the opportunity, but he recognizes that he lost his mask and he doesn't follow through, right? He starts to shoot at the puck and he's like, oh, yep, no, I'm not going to do it. But man, this is just like the protection that we wear as goalies is just like how when they showed Hofer after, and I wish we could have got video of this, he was cut, right? He was bruised, right?
Yep.
This, he is wearing top of the line protection. When I bought a helmet, I didn't skimp, right? It was the one piece, right? Protect the moneymaker. And that just, it popped off just so easily. But yeah, so just a little rant here from me. All right. A goalie's mask is not an optional accessory or something you slap together on a budget. This is what I want to say to all the people that pop onto goalie Reddit saying, hey, will this mask do? And, I haven't played in 20 years. I found this mask on sideline swap. Will it do? No, it will not. Spend top dollar, right? It's the thin fortress between you and career-altering damage. When Joel Hofer's mask came off after that Wilson rocket, and yes, that could have been a catastrophe, it was a vivid, blunt lesson. Cheap or ill-fitted gear fails you when you need it most. That was top-of-the-line gear. It popped off still, but kept him from getting cut too deep. Had a little bit of a bruise. So, lesson here, do not skimp. Do not convince yourself that a discount or secondhand bargain is an acceptable trade for protection. Top tier masks are engineered with layered composites, custom fitting reinforced mounts, and proven impact dispersion. They're tested against the very forces that can end seasons or ruin lives. You want comfort, you want visibility, you want confidence to challenge pucks and players. Spend the money. And
All right. Yeah, that was so okay. I think you paid pretty close attention after that happened. Did they replace the entire back plate? Is that what I saw them do with his mask?
So I thought that they just swapped out his mask.
They did, but I saw them taking off the back plate off the mask.
Yeah, that's what Kerber said, or one of Kerber or Vitale said that's what was going on. When I saw it, it just looked like they were grabbing his backup mask and giving it to him. But
yeah, they did. But I know I saw them working on it on the bench, and I thought that's what they were doing. And I'm like, it broke. Like that's crazy to think, because you think about the impact of a puck hitting the front of the mask. The fact that means you have to replace the back of the mask. That just goes to show how hard that hit Joel Hofer, because it probably exploded the straps.
Right. And that is to me, the only thing, right? We don't have the budget for the super, paying for the high-end video and getting the super slow-mo view in, 8K high def. But to me, the masks, the straps on our masks that we wear are super taut, right? You want the mask taut, the protection you have inside the mask. And instead of the gloves, I should have brought the mask in so I could demonstrate this, but I was rushing like I always do, so ill prepared as usual. And I think it was just the force of that, right? The force of the puck and Hofer moving forward, and it just popped it straight forward and off, like the straps weren't even attached. At first, I'm like, oh, he did a bad job, but no, it was broken.
Yeah, and it clearly was.
Yeah.
No, that was no, and I'll say for those that want a little inside baseball here, that I'm the one that puts together those clips for Bill, and I was amazed that I couldn't find more highlights, like different angles of that shot, and because you could see in some of the replays live that you could see the back plate just poop, just like pop off the back of his head, and it was really cool I say cool, terrifying, but cool to see like how hard that shot made his helmet react. And so, yeah, for me, I was like scouring the internet trying to find different angles, and I couldn't. That was the best I could do. So I do apologize for that, Bill. But you could thank Sportsnet and NHL and the Blues for not posting more angles.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We should we should figure out how to fix that.
I'll work on it. We've got a whole summer.
Right. For now, we're filling the void to talk about what happened when you can't really see what happened.
No, and I'll say it too. For me, it's funny because, with Tom Wilson, just instant reaction. I was like, I didn't realize it was a shot. Like, I knew it was a shot, but like my first thought was he just slashed him in the mask, because it's Tom Wilson. So I'm like, mother, that bastard, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Nope, that was a shot. Calm down. Tom Wilson, actually, like you said, he went to shoot the rebound, but then he instantly realized the helmet popped off and kind of just skated to the corner gingerly. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Tom Wilson, for being a decent human being. But yeah, it's just funny, instant reaction. I'm just like, Tom Wilson, you dick.
Yeah. I mean, how many times has he, put Oscar Sundqvist through the boards in the preseason?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we play the Capitals in the preseason, and why does he have a history of putting Sundqvist through the boards? Questions that Blues fans have to ponder.
Yeah, and this is an excellent point from Ace. He says it's kind of shocking they don't check them for concussion protocol. I thought the same thing when that happened. I thought, man, they're going to pull him off and make Bennington come in, and it's going to suck because he's not going to officially get the shutout. But they didn't. They pulled him out, or they just kind of brought him over to the bench. He kind of showed, like I saw him kind of point to the cut on his eye, and then he went right back out with his new mask. And I was like, man, that's kind of surprising. They didn't at least say like, hey, we at least need to look at him for a second.
Yeah. It's a scary moment, right? But to me, the mask did what it's designed to do and protected the player. Yeah. Even though, like I said, he had the cut and his face was clearly red.
Yes.
The impact was spread out and really probably did pop those, either broke the back plate because of the force of it coming forward, or pop the straps, like we said.
Yep.
So, and that's, modern, good, high-end mask design is going to deliver that and keep you safe from concussions.
Yep, that's true.
Give you a better shot at being safe from concussions. Nothing will guarantee that.
Do you remember, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, but Mike Richter, I think it was, gosh, I could be wrong. I think it was Pat LaFontaine. It was from practice. He took a shot to the head, and they said that he didn't have a concussion. He broke a bone in his skull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I think he had to be out for like 2 or 3 months until it repaired, because you can't you can't just like reset that.
Right.
So they had to just wait for it to kind of fix itself. And I'm like, that is terrifying. Like, imagine getting that x-ray and then being like, oh, you don't have a concussion. You just have a broken skull bone. No, thank you.
Yeah. I do recall that. That was, the tail end of both of their careers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hard to remember LaFontaine playing for the Rangers, but it happened.
It did. He was in an episode of Spin City. Michael J. Fox went on the ice with Pat LaFontaine. Wasn't John Van Beesbrook, was it? I can't remember who it was in net for the Rangers. Dan Cloutier. I think it was Dan Cloutier.
Yeah, that would be about right.
Yep. And I just remember laughing and being like, oh my God, Pat LaFontaine with the Rangers. That doesn't make any sense. But But yeah, Joel Hofer last night, we were talking about him. Let's go ahead and continue on. 21 saves on 21 shots. He is 6-0-2 with a 1.34 goals against average and a 959 save percentage since February 26th. He now has 6 shutouts on the season, one behind Ilya Sorokin of the New York Islanders for the lead. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we can sit and talk about this goaltending. I mean, Binnington played the game before, played very well, but the goaltending has really improved since the Olympic break for both Binnington and Hofer. And we talked about it last week. Not that they were playing poorly before, but it just seems like it's more of a we can steal you games now. And I don't think that's what they were really kind of doing earlier on in the season.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Hofer's been the better goalie. I don't have the advanced stats up here to support it, but the eye test, he's been the better goalie for the second half of the year. But both goalies have been much better after the Olympic break. I would be shocked if Hofer plays tomorrow night because still can't predict the Blues goaltending because it doesn't work that way. No logical reason for who winds up getting starts.
Nope.
But Binner's been better lately too, right? He's looked much more like his old self. So yeah, right now either guy is going to give me confidence, and I think it goes to the Blues playing a much better brand of defense that cuts out the cross slot pass, right? That is what kills every team, and the Blues would just vacate areas and let people wide open in high danger scoring chances for the most part of the season. And they've been much better about that.
You're talking about the cross crease pass real quick. I just want to say, how did the Blues win the game last night? 2 goals with cross crease passes.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you watched any of the Buffalo game tonight, Tage Thompson with an amazing no look from behind the net cross crease pass, and Jason Zucker scored. It's how you score in the NHL. If you can pass that puck, and I brought this up in one of our games. It was the first game that Amy had played with us in a long time, and she set up Booker for a one-timer, and it was a cross that center axis pass. And after the game, I was like, "Hey, we have advanced stats on this team now." And Booker's like, "I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth." But it was like that is the key, right? That is a major thing that greatly increases your scoring ability. Down low, even better, but just any cross slot pass, get the goalie moving side to side and get traffic in front. You really increase your chances. And the Blues were terrible about cutting that out before the Olympic break, and they've had a great focus on it. Since then.
And you mentioned, I'll give you a little credit. You mentioned going into the Olympic break, you said something like, Armstrong is probably telling Monty, hey, figure this out in the break. I want to see improvement coming into, next season at least. Well, we're seeing it. We haven't seen a lot of those cross center passes. And when we do, they're off the mark, so there's, I can't remember who it was, but somebody last night, it might have been Leonard actually, got a cross pass, but it was way off. It was like 2 feet behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And so the pass got across, but the guy was covered to where it was fine. It was no big deal. It it hit the boards and bounced back to the point man. So the Capitals still had possession, but you're not allowing those crazy, like we saw Snuggerud and Stenberg score. We're not allowing those plays to happen right now, and that is huge.
And they did a great job of keeping that from Ovechkin, right? The only passes that they allowed to Ovechkin were from Cole Hudson from the top of the slot. It didn't cross the axis. It was on that side, and he couldn't execute that pass last night.
Yeah.
So Ovi never got the one-timer.
Yep, I agree. So, yeah, and it's fun. I kind of giggled earlier when you said that the defense has gotten so much better. And I'm like, well, and we did just show a clip of Logan Mailloux just absolutely fumbling the puck right off a face-off. Honestly, I will say this. Honestly, I think his worst play in the last 2 months. And it was just a fumble. It happens all the time, but it's noticeable when it's right off the opening face-off of a period.
And he's still a rookie, right? He's still very, very young. That stuff is going to happen to anybody. Probably didn't happen to Matthew Schaefer this year, but for most players, you're going to have a moment like that. But his play, his confidence, and his willingness to step up in every situation between him and Broberg, like we found our top pairing by getting rid of Justin Falk and Colton Parayko being injured, right?
Yep.
We weren't forcing Parayko and Fowler out there every night. And these guys look amazing together. Like Phil Broberg, like that dude he's definitely the MVP of this team in the second half.
Oh, he's been incredible.
And all of the passes he's picking off, jumping up, reading the play, they said it last night. He has arrived, right? He is now an elite defenseman in the NHL, and it's amazing to see how far we've come in 2 short months. And hoping it's not a blip on the radar, and they can. I don't think we'll make the playoffs, but hopefully they can rekindle this confidence when we come back for training camp next year, because this is amazing to watch.
So since the Olympic break, this is a stat I saw earlier. Logan Mailloux, 13 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, +6, average time on ice of 22:30, and he is playing on the top pair right now, as you mentioned, with Philip Broberg. Zach Bolduc for the Montreal Canadiens, 11 games, 0 goals, 2 assists, +4. He has not scored a goal in 3 months. Listen, still a great player. I think he is going to have a fine career in Montreal. Don't get me wrong. But it's just funny how just a couple months ago, it was what a steal for the Montreal Canadiens. And now it's what a steal for the St. Louis Blues.
Right. And we basically predicted this. It's, not that we thought it would be this year, especially when Mailloux got sent down early on, but it was one of those that time's going to tell. I was super impressed by Bolduc early in the season for Montreal. Right, he went there and continued the kind of pace that he had with us last year, and thought he was going to be the real deal, gonna stick in the top 2, but he's found his way down onto the third line. And they have so much depth and so much high-end scoring, it's hard for him to get opportunities. They don't do a lot of second power play unit because they're so effective scoring on the first power play unit. Right, Cole Caulfield never comes off the ice on the power play. Nick Suzuki very rarely changes. Juraj Slafkovsky, and they got Demidov out there with Hudson. Right, he was going to be their Rookie of the Year challenger this year. Started to pick it up, and I didn't have him in the lineup last night. And damn it, that'd be another reason why I'd be back in the lead. So definitely,
this is why you're not an NHL GM, Bill.
That's right. I have analysis paralysis.
That's right.
But yeah, Bolduc, just right now it's a numbers game for him. I thought it was odd that they chose to sign Texier when they still had a guy that they plucked from us, and Texier has been in and out of the lineup, but he has to play in the top. In a top 6 to be effective in the NHL, and that means Bolduc's not. So for this year, it's a numbers game, and it's working against him.
Yep. So in this game, Jimmy Snuggerud scored the game-winning goal, and he now has 12 points, including 6 goals in his past 9 games. Otto Stenberg, big game. He was the first star of this one. 1 goal and a fight, so 1 assist away from a Gordie Howe hat trick. The 2 goals for the Blues in this game, my God, just beautiful. And it Mayu obviously with the pass to Snuggerud across the ice, and then Stenberg, that goal, unbelievable. The who was it that gave it to Dvorsky?
Berggren.
Berggren over to Dvorsky and then back across. I mean, to make 2 passes in a row like that, and then honestly too, Logan Thompson almost got across on Stenberg, which was insane. But yeah, just showing that this team, the youth is here. And, for those of you who are upset that they're winning games because you want to see a higher draft pick, I think it's still going to happen. Maybe not as high as you had hoped, but this was what I wanted. I wanted to see these young guys play the way we know they can. And right now, especially guys like Dvorsky and Snuggerud, the way they're playing, and Berggren looks like the world's greatest pickup for nothing. Just unbelievable the way this offense looks right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we wanted, right? We were torn on the Shen trade, but it's pruning, right? We're pruning the team and cut some older, matured, probably not going to have another peak for us in Shen and Falk, and the guys that are stepping in. Like, I really like watching Theo Lindstein play. I don't think we're going to get to the Calgary game, but I noticed a huge difference. I'm not going to say not to beat a dead horse, because I'm going to beat a dead horse. I'm going to continue to be this dead horse until he's off the team. But when Tyler Tucker got injured, the Blues defense improved massively, right? Their possession game came back. And, I hate to talk ill of the guy that got injured, but team was much better after he was out of the lineup that night. And having Lindstein in there every night, I think is going to be huge. He's learning, and I'm hoping that's a Steen thing, saying, these are my guys. I want these guys in there. Play them every night. And
I will
see it.
I will stand by. If you want to keep Tyler Tucker as your 7th defenseman and put him in there against more rough and tumble teams, I am more than okay with that. But he should not be an everyday player. And I'm not saying Lindstein is. He's probably going to go through some slumps here and there. So you're going to want to switch him out every now and then. But right now, I think if Tucker gets healthy, you keep Lindstein in the lineup. Kid has looked very, very good back there, anchoring the D. And they gave him some PK time. I thought he looked very comfortable there. Loving the way that kid's looking. And I'll say, I was someone who was like, man, I don't know if this kid's ready at the start of the year. And now he's up here now, and I'm like, he looks ready. That time, I think in Springfield this year has already helped him, and he's already looking very comfortable in the NHL.
Right, and I think the Blues, I'd like to think that they took a lesson from the Stenberg call-up. They both were touted as super high IQ guys, and when you play them with NHL talent, they're going to adapt quickly, and we saw that with Stenberg. I'm hoping that gave them the confidence to try the same thing with Lindstein. After they made the Falk trade, it was going to happen. And not that I think that Justin Hall is going to be here next year, but I did want a quick word on him. He is serviceable and keeps Matthew Kessel out of this lineup right now. And I think he'll do great for the rest of this year. He'll get a shot at training camp probably, but there are probably better options next year.
Give me Justin Hull over Tyler Tucker.
Yes, and he has not looked. He's big, slow, and lumbering, but Tyler Tucker is going to be that in a year too. Like he has some speed to his game still. But as he gets older, that's going to disappear, and he is going to be an even bigger pylon than he is.
Yep, agree. Well, we don't have a lot of time here, but you said we might not go to the Calgary game. I think we do need to get to the Calgary game very quickly because of the 3 challenges, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I think it's more important we talk about what happened with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Robert Thomas. Yes, let's talk about that very quickly. So, Robert Thomas, real quick, very quick, yes or no. Did Robert Thomas deserve an interference penalty?
Yes.
I agree, 100%. I do think he stepped into him on purpose. I do think he was trying to draw a pick. And I had no problem if Dubois wanted to light him up. I would have had no problem with that. To lay a shoulder into him, knock him on his ass. You know, you want to draw a pick on me, I'm going to make you earn that pick. But what he did, not okay. I will say at first, I thought it was more of a grab him by the shoulder and pull him back. Then I saw the slew foot. That was the thing that really, really bothered me. I have no time for slew foots. When I see that to me is one of the dirtiest things you can do. And I think that is something the NHL overlooks and do not punish enough.
Yeah.
I think any slew foot at all, that's at least a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, I am on board with the calls for George Parros to be removed from DPS.
Yes.
He like it was a quiet year for them. Not a whole lot going on until Radko Gudas. And now every decision they're making is wrong.
Yep. I did not. Well, they announced today, for those that maybe not have seen it, no further discipline for Dubois. Again, I think the standard they have set, I think that is right on par. But the standard they have set is wrong. Again, a slew foot to me, that is dangerous. I have been slew footed a few times in my hockey career, and both times I came this close to smashing my head on the ice. And when that happens, you're talking possible serious long-term issues. It sounds like, for those who didn't see it, Jim Montgomery said that he passed protocol and he's healthy. So it sounds like we will see Robert Thomas again tomorrow. But at the same time, slew foot should not be taken lightly. That was clearly one, and Dubois should have been given at least 1 or 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, I was super happy that they got together and made the initial call, the 5-minute, and reviewed it and upheld it.
Did you see Dubois in the box?
Right.
He was shaking his head going.
Yeah. And when he came out, he's like, what the fuck was that? Right. And then Spencer Carberry, the same thing. No, go back and watch the video. And sorry, you had to write down my curse word.
It's okay. I've been doing it all season.
I forget about that.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, the slew foot was bad enough, but the fact that he grabbed him by his shoulders and spun him and put him face down, face first, right? That
body slam, man.
That 100%. There was a Kurt Angle reference in the chat. Right.
Yep.
And it was a total body slam. To me, it was like Dubois, and Dubois pissed me off in the when there was the fracas at center ice, and when Leonard and Stenberg went and everybody got together. Dubois was not pairing up with anybody. He was the guy that was ping-ponging, trying to find anybody that he could throw a shot at.
Yep.
Hate that player. Hate him on every team. And so I was already pissed off at him when this happened. I didn't watch the DPS video. I learned from you that there was no supplemental discipline, but I imagine when they're looking at the video, they're going to they're going to say that there was a mitigating factor and that his stick got lodged in Thomas's skates, and he didn't have full control of his hands because of it. But that's not what I saw. I saw him grab, spin, and throw Robert Thomas down face first.
That to me is never an excuse for something like that, because I have done that before. There's been times where I've gone to hook a guy and I'm getting him right in the ribs, and I think, oh, nope. And I know I'm beer league, but like I drop the stick because I'm like, I'm not going to hurt this guy. And that's how it is for me in any level. You let go of the stick. If you notice it's lodged in the skate or wherever it's lodged, you let it go, and then you focus on you falling in a way that's not going to hurt yourself and you're not going to hurt the other player. And clearly Dubois had no intention of making sure Robert Thomas was going to be okay. The minute he, like you said, the minute he grabbed onto him and then kicked his legs out and brought him down with him, I thought, nope, that is not okay. That should be a suspendable offense.
Yeah. The last point I'll make on this game is this is the one game this year that I wish we had mics on every player, because it was chirpy and chippy the entire game for two non-playoff teams out, playing against, non-conference game late in the season. You expect these to be the games that get phoned in, but this was anything but. And I really want to hear what Snuggerud was saying when he and Wilson were in the box together. And the chirping. Snuggerud, I thought, like, the slap shot that he took, he's not a slap shot kind of guy. I think he was sending a message that, hey, Ovi, you're gone next year. I'm taking your place as the guy that shoots from wherever.
Yeah.
And with reckless abandon. And I loved it.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, real quick. The previous game, the Blues won that one over the Canucks 3-1. Pius Suter and Pavel Buchnevich scored 119 apart in the second period. Buchnevich had an assist in the game. Logan Mailloux had 2 assists in this game, and he also scored for the Canucks. Very nice deflection in front. Unfortunate. Again, I don't blame him. That's going to happen to any good defenseman. Chris Pronger has put pucks in his own net. Alex Pietrangelo has put pucks in his own net. It's going to happen. Just unfortunate. It was shot right at his stick, and it was a perfect deflection. Binnington, 14 saves on 15 shots in this one. The Blues recorded their 4th straight road win against the Canucks, dating to January 24th, 2024. Their second longest active run versus one opponent. That is the first being the 6 games against the Anaheim Ducks. Real quick note on the Canucks in general. So for those who don't know, last night there was 30 teams in action last night. All 7 Canadian teams were playing. Did you see the stat, Bill?
No.
So apparently it has never happened in all the years of the NHL, in any iteration. 7 Canadian teams have never won on the same night. And apparently last night, the opportunity was there. 6 Canadian teams won, and people are saying the Canucks ruined it because they could not win. I'm like, oh, poor Canucks.
Well, I mean, they're definitely, like, they're the team that is going into the draft with the best odds. And you just have the feeling the lottery's going to screw them somehow.
Yep. And then the previous game, which is the last game we will mention, the Blues lost this one 2-1 to the Flames. They won their first game against the Blues since January 12th, 2023, snapping an 8-game skid. Joel Hofer, 30 saves on 31 shots. Thought he played very well. Although he did have 3 other goals scored on him, but they were all called back. Because of the Blues' video team. Excuse me. Jim Montgomery is the first coach to win 3 challenges in a game since Jay Woodcroft with the Edmonton Oilers against the San Jose Sharks on March 20th, 2023, which is the only other time that's happened. Martin Pospisil appeared to make it 2-0 at 12:43 of the first, but St. Louis challenged for offside, and Kevin Ball did not hold the puck in the offensive zone, so that was called back. Blues then challenged the goal by Yegor Sharangovich at 17:23 for a missed stoppage in play, and video review determined that Connor Zary played the puck with a high stick, negating the goal. And the last one, Joel Farabee thought he put Calgary up 2-1 with a snapshot from the right circle at 9:38, but the call was reversed following a successful offside challenge by the Blues. The Flames ended up out shooting the Blues 7-3 in overtime. Tyler Tucker left the game. We mentioned this earlier in the third period after his right skate toe-picked into the ice. There was no update for his status post-game, but Montgomery did announce after the game on Saturday that Tucker is out week to week with a lower body injury. No timetable on his return. Could be season ending, and I don't think any of us are going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, no. I mean, Tyler Tucker is human. Sorry you're injured, but like I said, to me, it was an immediate difference in how much better the defense performed when he was out of the lineup.
Yep. How about those 3 challenges? I said this on the Let's Go Blues Minute, but like I'm not a fan of the coaches challenge. I think this whole system needs to be reworked. I think the onus should be on the referees. But having said that, to see 3, especially on the road, and the Flames fans just ripping their hair out, like, oh my God, are they going to challenge everything and win? And it was just crazy to see. But you love to see the video team be so involved and be on top of their game and make the right calls.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I saw the headline before I watched the game, and it had me watching with some extra anticipation. And I was like, are we going to see 3 different types of challenge? But we only had
There was
2.
2 different.
Yeah, and I was thinking, could it would be so unlikely because you can have goals disallowed for up to 7 different reasons, I think.
Yeah.
That if that game ever happens, it will definitely be one for the history books. Not that this one wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy
I
game.
will say, because you and I we had a game ourselves that night, and so I came home that night to watch the game, and I was surprised. I avoided all spoilers on the game. I went straight home, and all I saw was a text from our friend Jason that said, oh my holy hell, are you kidding me? And I thought, okay, that either means there was a nice goal or something crazy happened in the game. It didn't mean win or loss. So that's all I saw. And then the minute I saw the after the second challenge, I thought, oh, that's what that was about. And then I saw the third challenge and I'm like, that's what that was about. Like absolutely crazy. But yeah, something we'll probably see it again in our lifetimes, but it's so rare. You're going to have 3 approved challenges.
Yeah. It's it felt rare a couple years ago. There was the one Minnesota Wild series where we had 3 challenges in the series that all went against us.
Yeah. That was an annoying series. I forgot about that. Ugh. There's talk in the chat. Ace talking about Ovechkin. He's leading scorer on his team. I think technically he could play next year. Divide by Zero says, didn't he already announce that this is his last? He has not officially announced that, but it's a contract year for him. And the rumor is that he is wanting to go play over in Russia. So we'll see. Maybe he gives it one more go, but I do think I think we saw the last of Alex Ovechkin in St. Louis last night.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the speculation is around, that they just jettisoned his best friend, John Carlson.
Yep.
And didn't really give him any consideration for what that would do. So I think that they may be ready to move on, which is sad because greatest goal scorer in NHL history, you let him write his ending.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy if he was like, you know what? I'm going to go play with Sid, and he goes to Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, that would be a storybook ending.
That would be.
And yeah. Fuck you, Ted Leonsis, if that happens.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no kidding. All right. Well, next up for the Blues, we have got, let's see, Thursday, March 26th, tomorrow night, they play the San Jose Sharks. Then on Saturday, they host the Toronto Maple Leafs at 6 o'clock. On Monday, they hit the road, and they are playing the Sharks again at 9 o'clock. On Wednesday next week, which means we'll probably have a Tuesday show. They play at 8 o'clock in LA, and then they have 2 days off and play next Friday, April 3rd, 9 o'clock in Anaheim. So we will see if they can keep that streak going with against Anaheim when they have not lost in what I say it was 8 games, 7 games, something like that.
Games. Yeah. And it's crazy, right? San Jose, like we said earlier, you said they're in a tailspin. And Toronto, two teams that just aren't winning right now. And I guess Toronto won tonight because they beat Shesterkin and fuck me. But they're games that the Blues can easily win, and 2 games against the Sharks, that's gonna really jump up our playoff percentage. Still don't think we get there, and we are going to push ourselves further up further down the draft order.
So last year I was saying pretty much every show on Let's Go Blues Minute that they controlled their own destiny the last half of the season. That is not the case right now.
No.
If they are going to do this, they are going to have to basically win out, which is not going to happen. And other teams need to start losing. Now, I will say 4 of their next 5 games are against teams that are not in the playoffs right now. So that, you win all 4 of those. Maybe we'll talk in a week, see what happens. But I don't know. I just think it's too little, too late for this team.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
it's interesting to see this young team battling like this. I know people want to see losses for the high draft pick, but for me, I'm enjoying watching these kids play their hearts out and really kind of make it at least a little interesting to close out the season.
Yeah, it's the best hockey they've played all year, so I'm enjoying it.
Yep. All right, Bill. Anything else?
No. I think we've covered it all.
We have. This is one of our longer shows in a while, so definitely a lot going on. 5 more shows, folks, for Let's Go Blues Radio. So make sure you tune in next week. It sounds like, Bill, we haven't talked about it, but it seems like next Tuesday will probably be our next show. But hey, maybe we'll do a pregame show on the Wednesday game. That's 8:00 start. We'll see. We'll see what we decide.
Yeah, and we have one more forced game, right? No playoffs for us this year.
Now, we are like the Blues. We will not be making the playoffs. So, but hey, we've improved every year since our last championship. So the rebuild is almost over, Bill.
I hear you have a young, better model goaltender coming up next year. So,
I mean, I'll say she's more attractive, but that's about it. No, you guys are, we love you, Bill. We love having you. You're a great locker room guy. That's what every guy wants to hear.
Especially a goalie, right?
Yeah, right. No, we'll talk about it, but yeah, we love having Bill on the team this year, and I know our listeners have enjoyed the updates on the St. Louis Force.
Look at all the puck marks this guy's getting. Right? The last time I had him out here, he hadn't seen a puck.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. Yeah, so you've played what, 14, 15 games this season?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ace
12. So.
Ace says, "Great job, gentlemen, and chat. Let's go Blues and divide by 0. Thanks, guys. Thank you, chat, for always being so lively and fun. Thanks to our incredible sponsor, especially strikewithmike.com.
Speaking
that
of
will
the
wrap
Force.
up. What's that? Speaking of the Force,
Force.
Yeah, Mr. Mike Burgoyne, a member of the St. Louis Force as well. That will wrap up episode 25 of season 15 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. Make sure to follow us on all socials at LGB Radio, and follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. For Kirk Price and Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, screw you, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
TV talking St. Louis Blues hockey, moving fast, can't catch the beat, skates on fire, ice on defeat.